obviously I'm American. Americans circumcise their little boys. And most Americans don't really know that outside of America, it's just not common. Happened to marry an Englishman and assumed that everybody circumcises their little boys as soon as they're born. And as I was pregnant, I was talking to my husband, and this was when I was initially doing that deep dive in all the vaccines, and we started talking about what we were going to do as soon as the baby was born. And I said quite casually to my husband, like, of course, he's going to get circumcised right at birth to make it easier. And my husband looked mortified. He just looked at me and he said, what are you talking about? We're circumcise our son. We're not Muslim. We're not Jewish. Why would we circumcise our son? And I looked at him with a similar expression. Like, what are you talking about? Everybody gets circumcised. You're supposed to circumcise your child as soon as they're born. And he said, I have no idea what you're talking about. And we sort of went back and forth. And he said, I do not understand why Americans are circumcising their sons when they're born, outside of whether or not it's a religious rite. If they're Muslim or if they're Jewish, then they do that on the 8th day. Why on earth would we circumcise our child? And the conversation kept going. And eventually he said to me, and I will never forget it, he said to me, I am not going to allow you to mutilate my son for no reason as soon as he is born. And that's a really strong statement to come from your husband. And it was very shocking to me. I was upset by the statement because I felt that it was a bit accusatory. I'm sure if you're a mother and you're listening to this podcast and you circumcised your child, of course you're thinking it sounds accusatory, but using the word mutilate my son as soon as he's born, my healthy son, as soon as he's born, it instantly made me go, oh, like, how could you think that I would ever do anything to harm my child? How could you even use that word in talking about circumcision? I grew up and I was taught that that's the sanitary thing to do for children, for young boys, that you circumcise them because it's more sanitary. And I did not know that is a uniquely American perspective. So what I do a lot of times when I'm offended is I hold off on my feelings and I start to research, because I think I'm going to prove this person wrong. And I wanted to prove my husband wrong and to show him that circumcision is very common throughout the Western world. And I started researching only to discover that my husband was completely in the right and I was wrong. And it was stunning to me that this is just something that Americans are doing. How did just Americans begin to do that?